What's going on, guys? SeeJay here, and in today's video I wanted to do a dive into the supply shop, going through each of the options here and what I would prioritize spending your currency on, especially as a new player. Alright guys, so in today's video I wanted to go ahead and do a deep dive in the supply store. I made a video a couple days ago that was a deep dive on everything and anything in the game at a pretty macro view. But I do want to make kind of follow-up videos and probably eventually create an entire playlist that is for all new players or even existing players. It's just kind of wondering, like, I have all this currency, what should I buy, what should I not buy? These are kind of my opinions on what you should consider spending your resources in the game on, and what you should probably steer away from buying, because I just don't think it's really worth you spending the currency that you're given in the game on certain kind of options that are given to you, right? So we'll just work our way right down the order. So the first one is the gold shop, the main shop, right? So this shop does have a few revolving monthly characters that are going to be available for gems. Now, gems are obviously a valuable resource in the game, and you don't get a lot of them. So early on in the game, they're going to kind of throw you a handful of gems, and you might be tempted to come after some of these characters in here because you're just a huge Black Beast fan or a big Rumel fan or whatever it might be, right? These characters are going to rotate every month, and when they rotate out, you can't buy them for gems anymore. But even if they were there permanently, the problem is you're not going to get enough of this resource to continuously drop the gems in this store for these characters unless you're spending money. Even if you're at the top of the arena ladder, which most likely if you're a free-to-play player, you're not going to be at the top of the arena ladder. You're not even going to be close to the top of the arena ladder. It's really not worth your gem currency conversion to not use that currency towards refreshes on your yellow, so your campaign energy, and your blue, your guild energy every day. So as a low spender free-to-play player, it's fairly consistent that in your shard of existing players, you're going to be able to get to probably somewhere between silver 1, silver 2, possibly even gold 2. Any one of those brackets is going to net you 70, 50, 74, or 93 gems every day when you get your payout for your arena position. So when you first start the game, you're going to be way down in bronze or unranked, I don't remember, and you're going to work your way up. But you're going to work your way up pretty quick, because there are a lot of players who are going to join the game. They might play for a couple of days and then decide the game is not for them. Or maybe they're just not consistent. If you're a consistent player and you're actually watching these videos, you're probably interested in, how do I continue to progress my account? Well, you're probably going to end up easily somewhere in that silver gold range without too much of a hurdle, even as a free-to-play player. And when you get to that point in time in the game, you're generating enough gems to supplement 3 refreshes a day on your campaign energy. That is where you want to spend your gems. If you're a spender, well, then you can certainly utilize your gems however you please, because although I still don't think this is worth probably spending your gems on, it is totally worth, it's totally an option, right? Like, you can 100% come into the store and do this. Now, unless you came to the game at a later point in time and you missed the marquee event, you can see you're getting 225 gems per 5. So that would net you at what, 450 per 10? And then you're going to need 8. So quick math here, 5 times 8 is 4,000. So I don't know, 3,750, something like that, 3,500. Anyways, to get that amount of gems is going to run you roughly, you can't buy that pack unless you buy multiple different tiers of packs, but say about $30 to $40 for this character to get the 80 shards in order to go from, 3-star to 4-star if you had, or whatever. But if you were to spend $20 when the marquee event was out, half almost the price, you were going to be able to get this character's 80 shards anyway. So if you're going to be a spender and you were going to consider kind of going after these characters, at least from a 3 to 4-star perspective, then I would have just spent the $20 when the character was released and not done it in here. But again, if you already got that 4-star situation and now you're trying to buy even additional character shards to get them to 5 or 6 or 7-star, then again, you're clearly spending money in this game. So this isn't exactly the guide for you, because this is more for a free-to-play / low spender. But as we continue to go through the store, I would suggest a few things. When you get closer to the end game, you're going to need some of these weird one-off chisels and brass keys and some other ones in some other stores that you're gonna need to buy for gems. So you're gonna have to stash away a little bit of it because they're only available generally in this store rotating randomly, or available in another one of the stores we'll go to, I think the gem store, once per week. And you're gonna need some of these for your gear 9 and gear 10 upgrades on characters. So you're not gonna see them from gear 1 to gear 8. All of that is farmable in game from campaign nodes, but some of them will start to only be available from gems. And in order to buy those with gems, you're gonna have to supplement either your daily 100 that you earn in game with 0 coming from anywhere, any other source, or your 100 plus your arena payout. And depending on where you are in your arena, again, if you're at silver 1 or gold 2 and you're doing your 3 refreshes, you're still netting extra 24 or 43 gems per day. So you would just naturally gain enough every week in order to be able to buy with that leftover gem currency these X5 gear pieces that you need for specific characters. Every one of them has different requirements, so I can't really tell you you're going to want to buy brass keys or whatever because they're different for all of them. But keep that in mind. There will be some currently that exist in the game to continue gearing your character up that are not free to play. Another one's going to be your luminous crystal fragments. Again, this is another one you're going to need when you're getting into that G9, G10 category. But those are for way later in the game. Again, if you're watching this video, you're probably on the newer side. You're probably not even level 60. I would steer away from anything in the store that has a gem currency tag on it. As you get to the gold currency, you certainly have some options on what you want to spend. Luminous crystals that are purple, you're very far away from ever needing that until you're max level, until your character is, probably 6-star to 7-starred. You got to get all the way to, you're a long way. Just don't even consider spending 3,000 gold on this. And then as you kind of continue working your way down the bucket list here, you're going to have, sorry, my game is sort of running really slow right now, so I'm going to alt tab it back out into this screen. But what I would say you want to spend your gold on, and depending on how much gold you're getting early on in the game, it's going to really depend on how much you can afford here, because this does refresh a few times a day, and you could definitely start to splurge quite a bit of gold in this store if you're logging in multiple times a day and you're doing the refreshes and buying stuff every time it refreshes. So it's good to get in here and buy stuff that you need, but just bear in mind you could spend quite a bit of gold in here. That's kind of a net loss of your total gold generated per day throughout, just naturally playing the game. And you don't want to start hindering your gold income, especially if you're new and you're not in raids and you're not getting a completion of at least chest 1 where you're getting 300,000 gold a week just from that, plus your personal scores that are giving you also a decent amount of gold output back into your account. Because without really the raids, you are really hurting on a lot of resources in this game. So if you just start dropping all of your gold on here every time it refreshes, you're going to be in a little bit of a pickle, especially when you're starting to try to upgrade characters' abilities past 3 and 4, or upgrading characters' stars past 5, 6, and even into 7. You're just not going to have the gold available to do those things. But the point of the video is, what should you buy? All the stuff I mentioned above, either don't buy it or you probably have a long time before you should care about it. I would buy shadow and luminous crystals. You're going to need those, especially early on. I think they're worth picking up every time you see them. The essences are probably around the same bucket. I would say if you see them, pick them up, because you're going to need them for all of your characters that you want to continuously gear upgrade. So there's really no risk in having a little bit of extra. I like to stay around or above 100. That's probably a lot of fluff there added. You could probably say 50 is a fair number, or even 25 if you're very new to the game. I guess for perspective, the purple ones, which you won't need to really worry about right now, again, because this is way later in the game when you're end game, so I would probably not buy these. But what I've been sort of trying to aim for, outside of some that I've been getting just passively from farming characters that have these on the nodes as well, is getting around that 20 to 25 marker. I feel like that's a good point to be at, so when I get to a character that I want a G8 or G9, they have the resource available to do that on that character, and I can come back and kind of farm again. But as you can see, I mean, if you were to buy all these purples, you're talking what, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15,000 gold just on purples, and you can buy this 3 or 4 times a day. I mean, you're talking 40 to 60,000 just on purples. That doesn't include all the blues, that doesn't include anything else. You can definitely start dropping a lot of gold in the store if you start just kind of buying everything. And then other gear pieces, the blues and the greens, I would probably buy all of that as a new player, because you're gonna need these, and they're gonna save you a little bit for your opportunity to character shard farm versus gear shard farm, right? And some of these you're going to want way more than others. Like for elves and a lot of characters in the game, they use turquoise. Another one is going to be candles. You're going to probably hear those a lot. Opals, there's a lot of them like you see used on a lot of characters. So anytime you're in a bucket where you're kind of seeing like, oh, 13, that's low, like I probably need that because I'm using it a lot. Whereas another one might pop up, which I don't have a blue that's popped up right now, but you can see like, oh, dust is at 36 and the glass file's at 16, but I have 450 branches. Well, either they're a character that I farmed that just had branches on them and I ended up with a plethora of it, but also I barely had a character that has had to use branches. I think branches might be used by dwarves. Yeah, some of the only 4 characters use this. But if for comparison, if I go to like the turquoise, a lot of characters, you know, so what is this? 12 characters use this. So there's going to be a lot of characters that use a lot of different resources in the game. So I would say your greens are a pretty big must buy, especially at 500 gold. You're not really hammering yourself. The blues definitely go after. Purple steer away, especially early game. And then for glyphs, I feel like from the early game perspective, because even for me now in the end game, I need to put more effort in the glyphs, but I really hate how little amount of glyph management exists right now from a filtering and quality life perspective. So I really don't put a lot of effort into the glyphs, I'll be 100% honest. But until they kind of nerf and buff and kind of make them all viable, just, you know, at least a much closer equilibrium and balancing of viable. If you see Bloodlust in here, or if you see Last Stand in here, maybe consider buying it, because, you know, early on you're not going to have a lot of glyphs. It's just kind of like adds them to your arsenal of options. Otherwise, I would just get them passively through the campaign and then see what you got and just equip what you have to power up your characters. So anyways, as we go through, so this store is weekly. This is another gem store. I would never buy the experience of gold. I would 100% never even consider it. I would really not buy any characters similar to the same reason in the gold store. So I would probably stay clear of a lot of these characters that are on the screen. If there's someone you're absolutely farming and you need and you're a spender, go for gold. But then we're kind of back into the bucket of weekly, blues that you need for that more end game time. So you have a long time before you have to worry about spending anything in here. But like the sickle, you can see that my Beckaloo needs the sickle in order for me to upgrade her from G8 to G9. She needs 8 of these. You have to buy them, well, at least in this store, in 5s. So I bought them to get 10. So I bought one here, and I think I bought one either last week or I bought it from a different store that it showed up, maybe in the gold shop. So now I could upgrade my Beckaloo as my first character to G9, but I'm holding off because I kind of want to upgrade some other characters to G8 before I sink more shadow crystals into her for G9. But anyways, you will need to start kind of thinking about this store for these G9 required mats. So long time to go, but keep that in mind. As you go down, I would again probably steer away from a lot of this stuff. I don't think it's really worth your spend to go into the gem store and drop any gems on any of this stuff unless you're really in a pinch and you're just desperate and you're not willing to wait to farm it, and you say, F it, I have the gems in my account, I need more shadow crystals to get my character upgraded, I'm gonna spend 500 gems to get 25 shadow crystals right now. That's how they get you in these games. If you need it and you want to spend it, go for it. But my suggestion is probably don't even touch this store shop. So the guild shop. So guild shop has 4 characters. Currently on my screen, you see 2, and you have a couple other random stuff. I would immediately say probably in the guild shop, unless you have all the characters, which again, if you're watching this, you probably have none of the characters or maybe only one of the characters. I would not use your guild resources for anything else in here besides character shards. You gain guild resources by doing the guild campaign, and every time you do a node, you get back guild currency, this currency up here. You get this back every single time you do the guild. I don't know why me clicking that took me to that screen, but okay. You get this currency every time you are completing guild campaign farms, and guild campaign farms is your best friend in this game to upgrade or to get characters period as quickly as possible, because it's the fastest way in the game to get strong startup characters. So you're gonna have a good amount of this currency as you play the game. And so the 4 characters that you can get in this game is going to be Biffer, Mary, Boromir, and Webite. So in my previous video, I will still kind of, keep the story consistent here. Webite would be my priority number 1 because he's a great character if you ever want to build out Haradrim. He's also a really good character as a tank and an AoE character for your campaign shadow team. So I would prioritize Webite. However, Biffer has been sort of recently added to the store. He was not in here when I came into the game. And if I was a new player today playing it, I would definitely be kind of on the fence honestly, if I'd go Webite for Haradrim or Biffer for dwarves to start preparing myself for Thorin. But I don't have a free-to-play account to really see how the progression really lines up. And like I said in my video the other day, if you watched it, if not, I would, take a look at it. It's a very, it's a long video that has everything and anything in this game to kind of help a new player. But Biffer is a fantastic dwarf and a great plug and play character in the raid, but he's also good just as a dwarf added to the Thorin's company team to have a full set of dwarves. And I just feel like you're so far from Thorin because you really probably should go after elves, which elves are going to be not in the store. And so I'm going to say Webite and Biffer. It's your choice on how you want to spend your currency. Either one of them I would say is probably fair. I would probably hold off on Mary and Boromir. So Mary is a ranger, doesn't really have a great kind of team comp she's built with. Boromir is very good in the Gondor squad, and the Gondor squad is very good in specific chapters of the raid. But I would probably not build the Gondor squad as one of your, first teams. So early on and for a long time, you're going to be in the store for months, probably farming Webite and Biffer before you start farming probably Boromir next, in which at that point there might be new characters that are stronger than Boromir added to the game or might make more sense for your account. So that'd be my suggestion there. Challenge shop, I'm not even going to go over this that long. Challenge shop is an absolute piece of crap. It had a terrible conversion rate before. It's still terrible, but they reworked it once. They've said they're going to rework it a second time because it's still god awful. It's a 9-month turnaround from nothing to 7 stars. I would say if you're going after Webite and you want to build Haradrim, then I would suggest farming Tebeb, because Tebeb is another character for the Haradrim squad, so you might as well. Halbarad was considered a very strong character early on in the game, and he's still a fantastic tank / healer flex role character for a lot of different plug and play teams. But this store sucks, and honestly, as a new player, I might just straight up suggest buying the essences for the 150, because the 150 for 2, although it's not great, it's a lot better than 1500 for 5 shards. And you're not going to get a lot of this currency, like, I'm not even getting a lot, but you're going to get way less early on in the game because you're just not at the tier 6 in the challenge like adventure. So you're really not going to be able to buy like probably Tebeb more than like once or twice a week. So it's going to be a forever grind. Your choice. Tebeb is a great pick if you're going Haradrim and just kind of slowly farmer for a long time, or essences just to kind of give you some more resources to focus on character shard farming instead of worrying about essences and needing to farm specific nodes for some of these essences to continue gearing up your characters. The arena shop. So this one has a handful of characters too. So these 4 here on the screen, actually, they're all here. So you have Legolas, Shagrat, Golbers, and Éomer. Éomer is a top 5 character in the game. He's absolutely fantastic with the Rohan trio. They're very plug and play on a lot of teams. He's an awesome character for arena. He has a summon, which a lot of characters in this game don't have, so that adds a 6th member on your team's field to help. And if you're in campaign, he can die and it doesn't impact your 3-star opportunity. If you're in arena, it's just another character that the enemy has to take down before you are, before you lose. So he adds a lot of value in a lot of different aspects of the game. I would prioritize getting Éomer. Depending on where you end up in your arena ranking and how quickly you can get to that silver gold kind of rank in the game, you actually, if you're not buying the 10x and you're just buying the 5x, You could actually farm 2 characters most days, with some days not really overlapping quite well where you don't have enough to buy both. That's what I've been doing for a while with Legolas and Golbers. So Golbers just hit 5-star. I have 214. You need 210 in order to 5-star him here. So I'm not really farming his shards right now. I might come back to him to push to 6-star if it makes sense, and if the other goblins are kind of getting close to also sort of align with 6-star before Thorn's return at some point this year. But Legolas is my priority because I need to prepare for the return of Elrond, and I want to get Elrond for 7-star. So now I'm just pumping all of my resources into him. But for you as a new player, Éomer absolutely first. Legolas would be a fantastic elf to consider for Elrond, and Golbers is again great to consider for the Thorin legendary unlock. Or if you're a Goblins fan and the Great Goblin becomes farmable, then Golbers is again a great character farm. Shagrat's not bad either, but in this kind of core 4, he's probably 4th on my list, just strictly due to Legolas is for Elrond legendary, Golbers is for Thorin legendary, Éomer is a top 5 best character in the game. I would go after them before you go after Shagrat. Other stuff in here I wouldn't worry about. You're gonna want to farm these characters anyways. They're all pretty good characters to have on your team, so certainly would go after them. And the last 2 shops will kind of wrap this video up. So raids, if you're new, you probably haven't even really dabbled in raids. If you're just getting started in raids, I wouldn't even think about the Mithril or the blue currency, because you're not going to see that for a very long time. That is very deep in the raid and very deep in your personal score, so probably not really anything worth looking at. So just look at the yellow currency. So this yellow currency, you're going to get this in your personal track and as a guild completion chest reward. This currency is great to just kind of buy one thing consistently, and then anything else in here that maybe you just are in desperate need of and you like just don't want to wait. So every time I can, I buy the illusions, because the illusions are great for glyph upgrades past, I think, glyph level 7. It might be 8, I don't recall off the top of my head. After you buy that, or if you have enough and you're not really looking to buy more at any particular moment, it's not a bad deal to just kind of come in here and buy some of these essences. Again, they always are pretty useful, and you do get, 10, you get 10 per 10, right? So it's or 1 per 10, I meant to say. So it's not horrible exchange rate. I mean, it could be better, but it's not terrible if you're in a pinch. And then also, you can see like some of these are cost gems in the store, the 160 gem store you saw for some of these guys. These are 250 for 1. I would not recommend ever buying these for a 1 to 250 ratio. It seems absolutely terrible. The other thing you could consider buying, and even I've done in pinches, is going to be the crystals. Again, the crystals are a 1 for 10, not terrible, return. And again, if you just absolutely need it and you don't want to wait, or you don't want to farm a shard node, you can dabble in certainly the luminous and the shadow crystals. And the last one is the shard shop. This shop, again, you're not really going to see for a long time. This shop won't even be available until you have a character that is 7-starred, and then you happen to get additional character shard currencies for that character past max 7-starred, right? So you got your Ironhide, you 7-star, you need nothing, he's maxed. You open up a bonus chest that you can roll every few hours. I think it's every 4 hours. And you hit an Ironhide again for +3, right? Well, that's useless. Well, they created a shop, so it's not completely useless. They created a shard shop, so you can convert his 3 shards into supply shard shop currency. And so you can see that I've spent it 1 time. You don't get an insane amount of this currency, of course, because I don't have an insane amount of characters that are 7-star. So there's still a lot of characters for me to farm in the game. But the exchange rate's not great. You get 10 for 150, and this 150 takes a long time to get, so it's not great. Nothing in here really is a great return on investment. I think this is another store they could do a lot better on. They could potentially add a character in the store at some point in time as just like a currency to farm, or not really farm. You're going to get it passively as you progress your account further and further into the game, but the return rate in here is pretty trash. But I mean, there's nothing else to do with this currency in the game, so you're kind of at the whim's end of, well, it is what it is. This is what I can buy. So anyways, video is probably way too long, but I wanted to make one to just kind of do a deep dive into the supply shop and what my suggestions are on how you should spend your currency in this game. I'll do similar videos for other parts of the game to do a bigger deep dive into like campaigns and teams and guild campaigns, and just try to really help out the community, especially as we hopefully get more updates and more answers and see the game kind of grow throughout the year of 2024 and we get more players who are starting to play it. I want you to have a spot to come and find hopefully helpful information to answer some of your questions. Appreciate you coming by. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.